me, that means two. That means two. But that's always been my interpretation.
And that's why I don't want the duplex.
Yeah, I'd rather that.
Yeah.
But some city council members are totally against it.
I know, that's what Doug was talking about.
Yeah.
It's still against it.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have some people
Just
speaking
my
against it.
opinion.
You're gonna have people speaking against it. So we might change our mind. We'll see. Let's let them talk.
I don't know that we will.
Well, yeah, we'll see.
Yes. Good evening and welcome to the good evening and welcome to the Bay St. Louis Planning and Zoning meeting of August 14th, 2024. We ask that you all please silence all cell phones and electronics at this time. We're going to begin with a short prayer and the Pledge of Allegiance. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Father in heaven, we invite you to preside over this meeting. Give us unity of spirit, even when our opinions differ. Help us to listen politely to other points of view and to remember that we are all a part of the same community. Direct our thoughts, words, decisions, and actions toward the right path and the best interest of our city. We ask this in your name. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Our first application tonight is PRIEUR, application for special exception to the zoning ordinance submitted by Charles PRIEUR. The applicant is requesting a special exception to allow an accessory dwelling on the parcel. The property is located at 419 3rd Street, Bay St. Louis, Mississippi. Parcel 149N-0-30-175.000, Lot 145 Core, 4th Ward, Bay St. Louis. The property is zoned R2, two-family district. Is the applicant here tonight? Yes, sir. Can you come up to the podium and state your name and address and tell us a little bit more about why you're asking for the variance?
I am the
Right here.
Podium, please.
Yeah, right there.
I'm Charles PRIEUR. I'm the registered owner of the property and am part owner. My son-in-law is, and he's a contractor. I'm let him talk. If you don't mind, is that okay?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
How you guys doing?
All right, state your name and your address.
Dennis DeBois, and I represent Chuck in the matter of
Okay.
what we're talking about today. So I think you asked what our intentions were with while we're asking for the variance.
Because the house is existing, correct? And then
Correct.
we're asking for basically a mother-in-law suite.
That's exactly right. So we're looking for a mother-in-law suite and also like a little bit bigger of a garage for us to be able to kind of keep our golf carts and all the beach gear in. So
And I saw somewhere there was like a proposed square footage on
I think
there.
yeah, I mean, it's still kind of,
It's up in the air.
yeah, it's a rough plan right now, but we figured before we spent too much time and money in the design process, we would at least kind of get an temperature of,
And you'd have parking for that accessory dwelling because it's coming off of 3rd Street. That
correct.
driveway's
Yeah,
already
we have
there.
plenty of parking on St. Charles and on 3rd as far as property.
And just to note, this is an R2 where duplexes are allowed, and then the lot well exceeds the minimum square footages
Right.
to come to even ask for an accessory dwelling. I do have some people signed up to speak. Any questions or comments from
Yeah.
Yeah. Miss Anita Warner, 417 3rd Street. Is that for this one? Yes.
Yep.
Anita Warner, 417 3rd Street. I have the property that shares the property line with these people. I have a problem with what they are proposing as it is proposed because it is nebulous. We don't know exactly what we're going to build over there. Dennis told me to tell me, being the good neighbor that he usually is, and said, we want to do an accessory structure. I said, do you have any plans? And he said, well, no, I don't want to spend the money on plans till I know if I can do it. So when you look at what he has put down here, he omits the fact there's already a storage building that's probably, I'm guessing, 12 by 20, if not more, in the corner that shares the property line with me, which is the one that's listed as 120. And I know that it's that big because they had to use a crane to pick it up over the house to put it in place. So they've already got a storage building. It took them over 2 years to renovate this place. That's 2 years of hammering, banging, machinery, delivery, parking, loud music. I don't want to have to go through another 2 years of that. The other thing is, this shares the property line with me, and my property, my house is not shown even on the geoportal picture. But bedrooms are running down that side, so between the nebulousness of it, not knowing what he wants to build, or how big, or where it's gonna be situated on the site, I'm objecting at this time.
Thank you, Ms. Warner. Yeah, we would still follow all the residential setbacks for. Can you turn on Jeremy's mic?
So, to Ms. Warner's point, I guess, correct, they do not, or nobody really, I mean, I guess some do, submits plans for an accessory dwelling or whatever they do it, but no, it's just granted, they used to it. But some definites that there are is an accessory dwelling, same thing as a shed, like you can't have more than 50% of your house size. So if a 2,000 square foot house, yes, it could be a 1,000 square foot, 1,000, it could be 500 square foot. So that's yes, but accessory dwellings meet all the residential dwelling setbacks. So I guess from Miss Warner's property line, this side of it would be 8 feet.
8 feet minimum.
And then from the rear, the other, this is a corner lot, but it'd be a 8 foot on that side that butts St. Charles Street also. It wouldn't be 5 and 5 the way the shed that is there now. But then also, I guess, on coming off of 3rd Street, it would have to have a front yard setback of 25 foot off of that front yard setback also. So they have essentially 2 front yard setbacks that they'd have to meet, but no, they do not have plans for it.
But they still couldn't go right up on her.
No, that would be, you would have to, that comes, or used to come very often, people wanting an accessory dwelling and then ask for a variance, which,
So if they came any closer, they'd have to come back and ask for an additional variance.
well, since they don't have any plans, but
Right.
that side wall is
when
going
they
to have to
submit
be
for
at least
permit.
8 foot off the side.
Okay, are there any comments or questions from the commissioners? Was there anybody in the audience that would like to speak? If not, I'll entertain a motion. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. You want to come up and speak? Can you come up to the mic? It's broadcasting, so it's hard to hear when we're.
Right. I'm Elizabeth Waterman, and my husband and I live at 143 St. Charles. So Dennis's house is on a corner of the 3rd and St. Charles. So I'm really surprised being here to hear that you can't look at a picture of what it's going to be. And since you can do this and that with an ADU in a yard of that size, how do we know where it's even going to end? I mean, where it's going to be placed finally if there are no plans?
I mean, we will know when it goes through the permit office, but to Jeremy's point, even if they were to present us plans tonight, they could still move them later on because the variance is to allow the allowance of a accessory dwelling.
But what I'm saying is how do we know it's even going to go there? I mean, there's a big front yard and stuff like
I
that.
believe it has to be behind the principal structure.
Yeah,
It
Ms.
does.
Waterman, it has to be behind the principal structure for an accessory. But to your point, and it's not just this subject, it's planning and zoning issues that perpetually have always happened. Whenever a commissioner's city council has to get it, they look for what the ask is instead of sometimes what's presented in front of them, because once you say, I'm just going to use this example. Hey, I'm going to build this house. It's going to be 5 foot from the property line. But then let's say they're in a R2 district that allows a duplex. Well, they're allowed to have a side yard setback, but instead of changing their plan, by right, they go say, hey, I'm going to build a duplex with that side yard setback, which, I guess, like almost like a bait and switch. Like they got what the rules they want. So I guess the question is does this lot look like is a good candidate to allow an accessory dwelling as presented? Because it wouldn't matter if they submitted plans until those plans are turned into the building department and they're issued the actual building permit.
Correct.
Anything can change.
But once you have the plans, then is it carved in stone, or will people be able to look at that and see?
I mean, it would be public record, but what's by right is by right, for zoning it just as a whole. Yeah. Yeah.
I know.
I'm not getting it.
Yeah.
Like if
So
you're,
we're not approving the design in any way. The variance that we're approving here tonight is just the allowance of the
so the only other,
accessory dwelling.
but Ms.
But that's
Well,
where it's gonna be. It's gonna,
it's gonna
Yes,
have to
ma'am,
be
right
in,
there. It has to be right there.
yeah.
it,
Well-
it has to be in the rear, it's gonna have to be in the rear yard,
Yes.
which it could not be in front of St. Charles Street. It couldn't be in front of that side of the house on 3rd Street. It has to be in
I
the
see.
rear.
That's
It's
kind of
now
what I
for-
was getting at, and I was thinking
and for-
it had to be.
And this is just the first step to go around. Obviously, since y'all live in the historic district, it still has to go before historic preservation or her commission and everything else. And it still has to have a city council approval and even allowed.
Well, thank you all for.
Yeah, I hope that helps a little bit. If there's nothing else, I'll entertain a motion.
Deny.
Motion to deny by Ms. Brown. Is there a second?
Is the Dean on there?
Yeah, Dean's on
He
there.
can hear?
He can hear.
I'll second.
I can hear.
Okay.
Okay. Second by Mr. Breland. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Is this to deny?
Yes.
Nay.
Nay.
Good. And it goes to city council.
So it goes to city council. We're even.
They have this,
Mhm.
right,
Okay.
goes to,
So motion passes. The application recommendation is to deny, but it still goes to the city council meeting. So please be present next Tuesday, August 20th, 5:30 PM in this room, and it will go before city council. Yes. It says accessory dwelling everywhere else that I
Except
got. Is that not
on
right?
ours it says structure.
Make sure.
Right here.
Yes, but on the actual, let's see what the actual public notice says.
The public notice,
Cause this says accessory dwelling.
yeah.
Right.
So that's what it was advertised.
Okay,
Right.
so advertised correctly.
Correct.
All right. Okay. Sorry about that. All right, the next application is, LeBlanc, application for special exception to the zoning ordinance submitted by Selena LeBlanc. The applicant is requesting a special exception to allow an accessory dwelling on the parcel. The property is located at 411 Valentine Street, parcel 137J-44-270.000, all 4950 and part 48 and 51 Valentine. The property is zoned R2 two-family district. Is the applicant? Yes, ma'am. Go ahead.
Yes, my name is, of course, Selena LeBlanc, and I reside, I own the property at 411 Valentine Street, and I have a shed on the property that I'm trying to turn into a dwelling to accommodate my children.
And you came here before, correct? And
Yes,
it,
ma'am. And I
the
was approved.
recommendation was to approve from, planning and zoning, but then it was denied by city council.
So I have a few questions.
Yes, Michaela was not here for.
Well, I was here for the city council one, so I kind of
Yes.
did hear your case. I guess like my question is, so what are you trying to do for your children? Like, is this supposed to be a living quarters? Is this supposed to be like a access for them to play? Like, what are we
No.
doing?
I have 2 teenagers,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a younger child. I have 3 children.
Okay.
I have a 2-bedroom, 1 bathroom.
Okay.
It's just not enough room. I've been out of work because of injuries for almost 3 years. So I can't add on to my home financially. So I'm trying to finance the shed. I'm trying to do a quick solution.
Okay.
And finance a shed, something I could pay payments on to provide another bedroom and bath for one of my children. So I have, my oldest daughter is 20, And then I have two sons, 16 and 8 years old.
Okay.
Didn't have anyone in the audience signed up to speak unless anybody,
I do have signatures from neighbors that I did go around. I have to provide that for you.
yeah.
Of
I'll
course,
read-
I didn't go into fences that was not allowed, I was not
Sure.
allowed to go into, but.
Yeah, so I'll give this to Caitlin, but we have,
So, like,
13 signatures here.
from my perspective, like, I understand where you're coming from. You have went through, like, this process before, and, like, even if we do approve it, it might be, you know, you still have to go through council, and council shut it down. That's the only, question mark. But I do understand the cost effectiveness to have this, but also I do respect the council's decision in not having those type of structures, because it's just not in the direction that the city is trying to go in the sense of having those accessory dwellings like that,
I'm not understanding.
Well, so,
I mean, I do have a position to where, because I do have a lot of
yeah, no,
trees.
you definitely do, but it's just, I'm trying to figure out how to explain it.
And it's under 400 square feet. It's not like a huge building. I mean, my house is only 1,200 square feet.
Yeah.
My position's the same as last time. With it being an R2, we could add on to this house and make it a duplex. I personally just rather see them as separate dwellings with a primary structure and a smaller accessory dwelling if we're gonna do that versus turning it into a duplex. But I mean, my position's the same as last time as when it came through.
And why did they shoot it down?
Because they think I'm gonna rent it or sell it, which I told I would sign
Which
anything.
even if you built it, if you added on and made it a duplex, you could rent
I know.
the other side.
The other side of.
The duplex have like you had your,
Oh,
say you have
it's
your
too
house
small
there and
already. I could not.
No,
no, like if
legally-
you were to add another structure of the same size to the left of your house now and made it a duplex with a demising wall, you could just as easily rent out the other side of the duplex if you financially had the money to do so. So that's where my viewpoint is.
Well, I'm not comfortable with anybody renting anything on my property with my kids, but that's the whole reason I
No,
did
I
this.
get
is
that,
I'm
but
a-
where city council's coming
safety.
through 'em is just when properties change hands and stuff, then it's,
Yeah.
I understand. Yeah.
And that's what I was getting at when I made that comment about they're not really, open to having someone have their primary residence and then renting that out, even though your zone is set for that. You're in an R2, right? Yeah.
I'm just not understanding why some places are being approved and some aren't. I mean, is it because of where I am? I mean, by the school, is it any different? Because I drive around there all the time. There's a lot of,
it's all case by case
Yeah.
basis.
and I mean, some of them are bigger than my house, next to a house that's way bigger than my house.
If there's no further discussion, I'll entertain a motion.
Approve.
Motion to approve by Ms. Brown. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Mr. Breland.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Yay.
Thank
Dean, it's you.
Yep.
Yay?
Yay.
Yay. Okay. Motion passes, but please be present for the next city council meeting. It is Tuesday, August 20th at 5:30 p.m. in this room.
Thank you.
Ooh, I'm not in good shape tonight.
No, you're good.
Bring it to council without drawings.
Huh?
It needs drawings.
You need drawings. That's why I say, you get mad when I say it, but it goes back to you and you make the call.
We're not consistent.
I know.
We need drawings.
Our last application is Landry Hingle, application for variance to the zoning ordinance submitted by Marlon Landry and Ava Hingle. The applicants are wanting to renovate the existing dwelling. They are requesting a variance of 15 feet resulting in a 10-foot setback to the front yard, a variance of 3 foot 6 inches resulting in a 4 foot 6 inch setback to the side yard, a variance of 14 foot 6 inches resulting in a 5 foot 6 inch setback to the rear yard. The property is located at 346 Demolison Avenue, parcel 149E-0-29-207.000, 26 and part 27 block 5 Perkins subdivision. The property is zoned R2 two-family district.
Good evening. I'm Ava Hingle. This is my husband, Marlon Landry. So we own 346 Demotlin. Right now, our primary residence is in Plaquemines Parish, Belche. But we're looking to retire here. And so when we first bought our house, it was just 1,000 square feet, and that was fine for a second, residence. But now we're really getting to the age where we're having the opportunity to retire here. So we're looking to make a few additions that would make it so that we can stay in our house forever. My husband has 2 fraternity brothers from LSU that live within walking distance of us. We have so many friends on our street. I walk my dogs on our street. We love where we are. So we're trying to take what we have and with the integrity of Old Town and, the way our house looks, make it so that it's just a little bit larger for us. And that would be by adding a den living area and a little back porch that we have, closing it in. We were concerned because with my dogs, we were then going to have no yard. So my neighbor sold us a little strip of land. It's not that little, but it's behind our house. And so we've fenced that in, and now our dogs have a yard, and we have a yard. So we kind of took that into consideration when we lose our carport area. We knew that, we would now have this outdoor area. So we've already taken care of that and made sure that was gone. My husband's worked diligently. He's an architect on making sure that we keep the integrity of this house. So that everything, what we were hoping is that when you drive by, you'd never know that we did any of that. So we've been working with Colt for a very long time, making sure that we're, again, following all the things that y'all would like us to do. So I just wanted to introduce the situation.
I think it read it already went through historic.
That's correct. I designed this with Colt's assistance to meet the integrity of the neighborhood. Tried to maintain the scale, we maintained the roof line. We didn't go up. We could have gone up. We didn't, chose not to. We chose to only extend the existing roof of the dwelling. I've added, we would like to add a front porch, just extending what we have basically. And also our existing patio, our carport, would be exactly where the great room would be located. So we're in that part of the house, we're not adding any more square footage under roof than we have now. We have a little bit we're adding in the back, where we're having a back exit and a powder room. And we have a little bit we're adding in the front porch to extend that porch to the side so we can sit out there. And in one day, when I'm 69 now, when I get older and need to put a handicap ramp up there, we'll have room to move around on that front porch to get in and out of the house. I tried to design it with sensitivity to the neighborhood. Like you mentioned, we did hit historical approval already. They were actually very complimentary.
Yeah, it definitely adds to the curb appeal. And I was going to say that we're really in the footprint of the existing building, even with that back addition. That's where the existing back porch is. The only concern I'd have is parking. What are you planning to do to park
We've got a couple of solutions to that. Colt mentioned this to me before. We can widen our driveway, which is 15 feet wide now. We could make it 20 feet, get 210 by 20. And we can also, we have a setback across the front of about 8 feet, I believe it is. Make it a 10 as well. So we have plenty of room for additional off-street parking. And, we have our cars in a golf cart. We park off-street now. So we don't anticipate, we're not renting it out. We don't anticipate anyone to pull up over the boat or motorhome there or anything like that.
Yeah. Just make sure we concrete all that. That's the new rule anyway, I think.
Is it concrete or can we use crushed stone?
Will you be able to use the crushed gravel on the off-street parking? Because it's within.
We're gonna have to, like how it is now, when y'all get approved and do the renovations, y'all are gonna have to have a 8 or 10 foot skirt around the front to keep the rocks on there.
That's what I was going to ask, because when I was walking the dogs last week and I saw that people are putting the concrete on the edge and then putting the rock in the middle, which we don't have a problem.
Issues with the rocks getting in the street and the gravel and stuff.
Yeah.
So. But just so you're aware of that.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's all I
Because it's
remember.
becoming living space. Mm-hmm. I did have one letter of opposition, and then I have a bunch of people signed up to speak. Did the commissioners have any questions?
I was just asking Jeremy, I know, and she just explained to me why we were asking for a setback on the side when it's already existing.
Well, it's
The building's there.
and it's the same thing with the rear. That rear is 5.5 feet, but you're making it more non-conforming. So you have to ask for the 5.5 feet. Again, if you don't get it, it's not like you have to go take off the thing, but it's becoming more non-conforming.
But it's existing already, is what I don't understand. It's
No,
already,
The
They're gonna
line
add
of
more to the
the
back.
property line's not straight parallel with the house, so we're
Right.
getting a couple inches tighter.
4 feet by
Mhm.
10 feet
Yeah.
in the back.
I'm gonna read this anonymous opposition letter. It says, please accept this as our opposition to the requested front setback and side setback for this application. This property already has a small front yard, which has caused the current owner to make parking at the edge of the street and partially in the street. The open carport is at 4 foot 7 inches from the property line. The living area, being that distance from the property, does not exist in this block of Demolition Avenue. Planning and zoning approval of this request is setting a precedent for future requests that should not be allowed. Those of us who live in the neighborhood have followed all of the setback requirements without requests for variances. And then I have if y'all wanna sit down for a moment, we have a list of people signed up to speak. Mr. Tad Black, 211 7th Street.
I'm here, I have a letter from Miss Dixie Davis at 329 Demolition Street. And I have a letter here where she opposes all the variances that are requested and giving me permission to speak on her behalf. And I would like to have this letter spread upon the minutes of where she opposes it.
We'll give it to you.
I personally have a problem with the variances, and she does too, just because there's too much variance. And you're already making a non-conforming property more non-conforming. And there's been a problem on Demolition Street with cramming houses on little lots. And yes, some of the people aren't happy. But Ms. Davis does oppose it, and I'd like to give this letter for her to be spread upon the minutes, Mr. Chairman.
All right, this is, from Ms. Davis. I, Dixie Davis, oppose all the variances, front, side, and back at 346 Demolition that are being requested. I am giving permission to Tad Black to speak on my behalf. Thanks for all of your consideration, Dixie.
Thank you.
329 Demolition, thank you. Okay, Mr. Jeff, Mitchener, 344 Demolition.
Hi, good evening. I'm Jeff Mitchener. I live at the homeowner at 344 Demolition. And I'm actually for the variances. I live right next door. They've shared with me and with other neighbors the plans and what they plan to do, and I think it looks great. It's fine. I have no concerns. I would like to address one thing that someone said about parking in the street. I've never seen them park in the street. The driveway and the parking area is off the street.
Thank you.
So I put that up.
Appreciate that. Marlon Hingle, was that for this? Okay. And Cole's on there too. And then Miss Anita Warner.
Anita Warner on behalf of the Live Oak Registry. There is a very nice registered oak tree to the, if you're looking at the carports on the left. So I'm fine with them doing things as long as they keep the gravel driveway and the gravel parking area so that we can have permeable substance so that that big oak tree is not impaired.
We will have to come up the 10 feet though. Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that because we would need something permeable to give that oak tree a chance of survival.
Yeah, the oak tree sits between us, really, it's on Jeff's lot. And that's the reason why we didn't go up. Because we have an area between our two houses, and we have some palm trees. So we haven't even, neither one of us put our fences in there because we kept that nice little area between our houses. The reason why we're not thinking of even going up is because of that oak tree.
The canopy.
So absolutely nothing about the oak tree is going to be touched. Our parking would go the other way. When we extend the gravel, we're going to go towards the porch, not towards the tree.
in the front yard.
I mean, honestly, we want to go to one car when you retire, you know. And I know that, I know what the problems are. I walk my dogs again, I see it. But we're not, you know, doing that, if that makes sense. And we're definitely gonna have complete, you know, respect for the tree, for all the tree.
Thank you.
Yeah, I moved here last year permanently, in July of, 2023. This was a second home for us. So I moved here permanently. I had oak trees in New Orleans. I lived there for 30 years, and we had live oaks and water oaks in our home. So, I'm very keen, and I appreciate the oak trees. Since we built the house in 2018, I've had an arborist come out 4 times, most recently again, to make sure the tree's healthy, to trim any dead limbs. Just recently, the city was coming by, and they were gonna cut some limbs, and I went out and explained to the guy, I just had the arborist come out 2 weeks ago. So, again, I would, if I had concerns that this was gonna impact the tree or what have you, I certainly would have said something. And they're great neighbors. Again, they've shared, with myself and with other neighbors, their plans, and again, I'm not opposed to this at all.
Thank you,
Appreciate it.
really
Thank you.
appreciate that. Anyone else in the audience for or against that would like to speak? Any more questions from the commissioners? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
No, I was gonna ask him, somebody needs to make a motion. if they
A
want to.
motion.
Okay. Approve.
Motion to approve by Ms. Brown. Is there a second? Dean or Mr. Agee?
I'll second it to get it on the floor.
A second by Mr. Agee. All those in favor?
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
Of course he's aye.
Dean?
Aye.
Aye. So motion passes 3-1. Please be present at the next city council meeting, August 20th, Tuesday, 5:30 p.m. Thank you, guys. Okay, our next,
Is this, let me ask you a question, is this original?
that's from last week. That's the minutes.
No, okay.
Okay, next is our motion to approve the minutes of July 10th, 2024. Is there a motion? I really messed up.
Approve.
Motion to approve by Ms. Brown. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Breland. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Dean?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Last agenda item is a motion to adjourn the meeting of August 14th, 2024.
Approve.
Motion by Ms. Brown, second by Mr. Breland. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Dean?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.